Assalamu alaikum. Today we are here in Masjid al-Mu'minun to continue our series of interviews and conversations with members of this community, as well as our pioneers and others. Today we have with us Imam Wali Shaheed. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Wali.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
We intend, Brother Wali, to develop our interview series to include a background of our pioneers and members who've made great contributions to Masjid al-Mu'minun and to the Ummah. And we'll start by asking questions about your youth, family life, and we'll proceed on that line.
Okay.
I would like for you to take time and give us some ideas about your upbringing, your community that you grew up in, and your family structure as a youth, as a young boy, a little boy. In fact, were you born in Memphis? Good start.
I was born in Memphis. First, let me say thank you very much for inviting me in for the interview, and we hope that we're able to give a snapshot that's a true reflection of our life. I'm Wali Shaheed. I was born Ronnie L. Seward, and I usually don't tell people that. I usually say that brother is a dead man. But I was born Ronnie L. Seward in 1949 to Annie Seward and Walter Daddy Johnson, born in the Memphis, Tennessee area, in Memphis, Tennessee. Actually born at home. Born on a wintry night. It was so cold and so snowy that my mother always recounts that the doctors couldn't come out, and she labored with me, and they finally got there. And born at home, because at that time, if you were unmarried, then you were unable to be treated in the maternity ward of the then John Gaston Hospital. Born and lived in what we'll call in the North Memphis area, in Leafin Lane community, between Leafin Lane and Dixon Home. I have two sisters and one brother. One sister older and one sister younger than I, and one brother who's also younger than I. And I grew up in a neighborhood that was very poor. In fact, the neighborhood I grew up in was in a two-room house, and the house that I was born in, and the bathroom was outdoors. So that gives you just a glimpse of how far back that was. And it might not have been that uncommon, but it was really uncommon now that we look back at it in retrospect. I attended Carnes. Well, I can remember in my family life being, it's, what I said, we were close. I remember us being always cared for, always loved. And I attribute that kind of strength to my mother and my grandmother, who was in the house at that time. We called my grandmother Mama. We called my mother by a first name or a middle name, which was Lee. And that experience, as I remember, was very good, very good. I could never remember being hungry a day in my life. I can never remember a time when the situation was so dire that we didn't have a roof over our heads or the necessities that were needed. But my mother was a genius at recycling. I always said during one of the presidential administrations that they should hire her as Department of Secretary of Department of Treasury, because she could do more with a nickel and a nail than most of the administration can do with millions and billions of dollars in terms of how she stretched it.
Were you all a religious family at that time?
Yes, we were a religious family. Baptist. Yeah, I would have gotten to that. Yeah, Baptist. My mother attended a Middle Baptist church, and my grandmother attended Trinity. And Middle Baptist, as you might remember, was pastored by Dr. Benjamin Hooks. And I think many of the younger people at that time, and this was in the late 50s and early 60s, they were really enamored with Dr. Hooks, his personality and his charisma as a religious leader. So my mother wanted to go to that church, and we ended up going with my grandmother to Trinity, a church that one of my uncles had helped to found.
Okay. Did you participate in the choir, or were you?
Yeah, we did all of that.
You was part of the choir?
We did all of that, and you treated church life for us was routine. It was something we did on Sundays, especially when I was in my pre-adolescence and adolescence years. It was just something that you did. The parents got up on Sunday. You got yourself clean. You put on your best, and you went to church, and you participated in whatever the order of service for that day was. If it was Sunday school, and church, and of course in the Baptist church they have all kinds of activities that are associated to the faith.
With Dr. Hooks' pass, and tell us what you remember most about him as a youth.
As a youth, I have to take you back to I was maybe 16 or 17 years old, and that's when I started shooting hooky from church. I would leave out, and we would have to pass a corner that all of us used to gather around, called the corner of Leaf Lane, and there was a sundry there. And Reverend Hooks' church was a half block. I mean, you could throw a rock from where we were, you could hit his church. And I can remember on Sundays when the church doors opened that we could hear his voice coming out, preaching. He was getting the word, and the emotions and excitement that was in the atmosphere was coming out, and I'm sure it was registering on us. And we got a chance to, I had a chance to tell him that later in his life, prior to.
Give us a brief about your the schools and.
I went to elementary school. Went to Carnes Elementary from the 1st to the 8th grade, and from the 9th grade to the 12th, I went to, from the 9th to the 11th, I went to Memphis High School, which I always call my alma mater. And in 1967, graduated from Humes High School. Humes High School, most notably known for having graduated the luminary Elvis Presley. His picture is up in the wall and in the school. It is since a middle school. In school, I would consider myself, I always consider myself a pretty good student. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning. And I always felt that I could do good in school. There was never a time in school that I felt that the subject matter that was presented to me was too difficult or too challenging. As a matter of fact, I don't think I really ever exerted myself to the fullest. I just coasted. And the year that we graduated, I graduated was the year that they desegregated the schools here in the city of Memphis in 1967. Desegregation really hit, and the area that I lived in, those students were then directed to Humes if you were a senior. So we all ended up graduating from Humes High, but again, I treat Manassas High School as my alma mater.
How did the civil rights movement affect you? I mean,
Well,
you were a young man at that time.
I hate to admit it, but in my community, the civil rights movement, for myself, really escaped me. I was really unaware of all of the challenges of the civil rights era. And I think primarily because we were engaged in our own community life. We were going to school, we were playing sports, we had other interests, and it did not seem, as I recall, to be a movement that had made itself known and well announced in my community, maybe because of just our youthfulness not really paying any attention to that. I did become acutely aware of it, of the civil rights movement in 1968 when Dr. King's passing. I remember exactly what I was doing. I was in the military, I was in boot camp, it was an evening, and the news flashed over the television as we were preparing ourselves for the next day, shining boots and brass and etc. That Dr. King had been assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. And it appeared on the screen as something that was very out of life experience, and an experience that was not really based in reality. But there was, I was in the United States Navy.
And how long did you
Served in the United States Navy for 2 years during 1968, 69. Volunteered along with 3 other of my friends, and if you volunteered at that time, you had a 2-year hitch, and you could re-enlist if you chose to do so, but I think it was President Nixon who abruptly ended the war after the surge of the North Vietnamese in the late 60s.
Did you actually find yourself in a combat situation, or?
Well, in the Navy, I was an air crewman, and my responsibility there was aircraft maintenance, computing waiting balance of an aircraft, loading munitions on, getting troops in and out, and general stewardship of the cabin of the aircraft while it was in flight. I've been on 2 airplanes that have been on fire, and we landed without incident.
That's remarkable. Okay, tell us about your college experience.
Well,
pardon, let me back up. What year did you meet Sister Nadira?
Well, she attended the church, and I was about 14 years old, but at that time I wasn't paying, she's not going to see this, I wasn't paying a lot of attention to her. You know, you're looking around, you see things and indulging, but I met her at about 14 years of age, but at that time I had no idea I would be spending 40 years of my life with her.
Alhamdulillah. How many children did you have?
We have 2 sons and 2 daughters.
And what I'm going to ask you a question that I asked Imam Shaheed. Your idea about fatherhood and parenting before you met her, did you get to the point where you realized that you achieved your ideal and goals about family life?
No, not quite. We got married when she was 19. I was 20. We were just beginning to taste life, and she couldn't even be married without the permission of her mother. So I didn't have any real ideas. I had been in the military, and I was in the West Pacific, so I had been to all of the countries in the West Pacific. Hawaii, Wake Island, Philippines, Japan, Thailand, all those countries. And I had some experiences from my military service. And coming back home is when I really met her. She's very bold. She's very beautiful. And at that time, I was really looking to start my life on what I think on the most solid of foundations, and that was with someone who wasn't my girlfriend, but who was my wife. Somebody that you can put your confidence in, that you are working for the same aim, and that is not short term. That's what I had in my mind at 20.
Yes. And then you attend what university and what college?
Well, after I was my term with the military was up, I came back here, and I had an idea. I had an uncle who worked for the post office, and I thought the post office was the best job on earth. So my ambition in life was to, get a job at the post office. So I get a job at the post office, set my life. I took the civil service exam, made like 90 plus on it. Something, I got my 5 points, I was like 96. I said, definitely in at the post office. They sent me to work at Jones Services Administration. I started to work at night, cleaning the building. That was sort of a little disappointment to me, because I said I should have been at the post office. I should have been at Jones Services Administration. So that caused me to say, well, I'm going to go to school.